Today we're taking a look at these CFB matches, which are happening on Saturday, October 8, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. By becoming a member of the High Stakes Patreon, you will have access to our best team picks, total picks, parlay picks and much more. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our video, we will give you 2 betting picks for each game, a team pick and a total pick based on facts and detailed explanation. So make sure to watch our videos till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Iowa vs Illinois. In 2 short years, Bielema has made Illinois football relevant yet again. A short time ago, imagining the Fighting Illini as a favorite against the perennial power that is the Hawkeyes would be preposterous. Now, the number fits. Illinois has the second best scoring defense in the country and is dominant against the run. They will force Iowa and their 111th ranked passing offense to beat them through the air. Iowa has already struggled to both run and throw the ball this season, so they will be in for a long afternoon against a Fighting Illini team that has been a shutdown squad. Offensively, Illinois' offense will be effective enough to build a lead against an Iowa team that has been downright inept on offense. The Illini ground game is ranked 20th in the country and should be able to control the tempo of the game. When the Hawkeyes throw the ball, they will be facing a defense that is 25th in the country in sacks per game. After winning on the road against Wisconsin, this is a true statement game for the Fighting Illini. Lay the points, -3.5, and go with Illinois. The aforementioned Hawkeyes have struggled to score all season long, and it was put on full display last week in their loss to Michigan. Iowa's offense ranks a distant last among Big Ten teams in points and yards, 242.2 per game. Illinois is 5th in the country in scoring defense, but their opponents have not exactly been juggernauts on that end. Iowa runs the same type of offense the Badgers run, and Illinois held them to just 2 rushing yards last week. The total here is insanely low, but I anticipate both teams struggling to consistently move the football. Both defensive units are top 5 in scoring and yards per play. This is going to be a slow, grinded-out type of football game. Our total pick is under 36.5 points. BYU vs Notre Dame. BYU did beat Baylor this year, but that game was at home, but they also lost by 21 points to Oregon on the road. I see them struggling in this one against a Notre Dame team that seems to have finally found its footing. Dre Pine is starting to settle in a QB, and a good Irish ground game should have a solid showing against a BYU defense that allowed Utah State to run for 205 yards on them last week. The BYU offense has been very solid, but Notre Dame has been led by their defense overall, and it will continue to get better as the season wears on. Notre Dame does have a solid edge on defense, as they have allowed just 24.0 PPG overall, including just 21.5 PPG at home, while BYU has allowed 31.0 PPG on the road. Lastly, the Irish are 21-10 at TS in their last 31 games following a bye week, while BYU is 1-5 Austrian shillings in their last 6 games following a straight-up win. Notre Dame wins by a TD in this one. Our team pick is Notre Dame -3.5 points. Notre Dame won't light up the scoreboard at Allegiant Stadium, but I believe both teams will get their fair share of scoring opportunities. Each team ranks in the bottom 15 of all FBS teams in defending against scoring opportunities. I do like BYU's chances of converting more of those drives into touchdowns than Notre Dame's, but the Irish will contribute to the points total with an extra touchdown or field goal than they might typically against another opponent. Our total pick is over 51 points. UTEP vs Louisiana Tech. After pulling off a huge upset with a 27-10 home victory over the Boise State Broncos in Week 4, the UTEP Miners recorded their second straight win in Week 5, outlasting the Charlotte 49ers 41-35 as 3.5-point road dogs. Jadrian Taylor and Therese Knight returned a fumble for a score each, while junior signal caller Gavin Hardison completed 10 of his 14 passing attempts for 173 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Bulldogs are coming fresh off a bye, but they've struggled mightily on both sides of the ball through the first 4 weeks. On the other side, the Miners have had ups and downs while playing solid defense over the last 4 weeks. Under Sonny Cumbie, Louisiana Tech leans on its passing offense, and I'm expecting UTEP's defensive unit to make the difference. Furthermore, the Miners will run the ball as much as possible, and the Bulldogs are allowing 5.7 yards per rush, so give me UTEP in points. The Miners are 5-2 at TS in their last 7 meetings with the Bulldogs, and 5-1 at TS in their last 6 visits to Joe Eilert Stadium. Our team pick is UTEP Miners +3. In their last game, UTEP was on the road and they beat Charlotte 41-35, where they rushed for 252 yards and they returned 2 fumbles for scores. Those scores on D were key in the 6-point win, as they were outgained 443 yards to 425 yards, gave up 347 passing yards, and were penalized 10 times for 99 yards. UTEP covered as a 3.5-point favorite, and they have covered the spread in 8 of their last 11 games, facing a team with a losing record. Tech's offense ranks alleged 34th in the nation in passing yards per game, but only 119th in rushing yards per game. Parker McNeil passed for 251 yards with a couple of TD, but was picked off 4 times, including a pick 6. T. Griffin Hebert leads the team with 327 yards, while averaging 23.4 yards per catch, and W.R. Tree Harris has 250 receiving yards. Marquis Crosby leads the Bulldogs with 248 yards, but 197 of them came in one game, and in the last 2 games he has totaled 28 yards on 22 carries. UTEP has a pretty good pass defense, giving up an average of 188.5 passing yards per game, and Cal Wollerstedt leads a pass rush that has 11 sacks with 3. Okay, so UTEP put up 41 points in their last game, but they had 2 TD that were from the defense. That is the main reason I am leaning towards the under in this game. The Bulldogs are a one-dimensional team on offense with a lack of a good run game, and they will not move the ball, often facing a good UTEP pass defense. The Miners will have balance in this game and put up some points, but they will not light up the scoreboard. They will control the ball on the ground facing a bad Tech run defense, as there will not be a lot of aerial fireworks. Last season, when these teams met, they only totaled 22 points, and while I see more in this game, not much more, which is why the under is the pick. Texas A&M vs Alabama. Even though they'll be going on the road in this year's version of the rivalry, the Aggies will still aim to continue their run of success against the Crimson Tide. Last year saw them spring the upset at home, but without quite a bit of talent lost and more inexperience in the lineup, it's expected to be far more of a struggle for Texas A&M in this one. The Aggie thought they had things working back in the right direction after taking down Arkansas just a few weeks ago, though an 18-point loss to Mississippi State last week has them searching for more answers than they anticipated needing at this point in the season. Adding in a loss to Appalachian State and a handful of other close games, Alabama is likely to present a world of trouble for this group. The Aggies have been one of the most disappointing teams in college football this season, and considering how this game stacks up in Alabama's favor, there's little doubt that they'll come away with an easy win. For the Aggies, being without their starting quarterback and top wide receiver is likely to haunt them when it comes to moving the ball, especially considering they already have one of football's worst defenses. For Alabama, their insistence on running the ball should serve them well to open some space up for their wide receivers, and in a game in which they will have no trouble dominating on the ground, coming away with the easy win will be a piece of cake. Additionally, according to Covers.com, the Aggies are 1-5 at TS in their last 6 road games, while the Crimson Tide are 7-1 at TS in their last 8 games in October, and 4-0 in their last 4 games on grass. Our team pick is Alabama, -24. Bryce Young completed 54% of his passes for 173 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception in the win over the Razorbacks, before leaving with a shoulder injury. He is listed as day-to-day but is expected to play in this game. Jalen Milroe completed 44% of his passes for 65 yards and 1 touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs had 18 carries for 206 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Kobe Prentice had 3 catches for 92 yards and 1 touchdown. Max Johnson completed 73% of his passes for 203 yards and 1 touchdown in the loss to the Bulldogs. He injured his hand in the game and has been ruled out for this game. Haynes King completed 46% of his passes for 49 yards and 2 interceptions in relief of Johnson. He also had 14 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. Devin Achane had 16 carries for 111 yards, while Moose Muhammad III had 6 catches for 119 yards and 1 touchdown. The Aggies are averaging 21.8 points per game, and they scored 24 points in their only road game. They average 31 points per game in their last 3 games against the Crimson Tide. They are in the bottom half of the country when it comes to throwing and running the ball, and they're facing a defense that doesn't give up a lot of yards and is holding opponents to 11 points per game, so don't expect the Aggies to score more than 14 points in this game. The Crimson Tide are averaging 48.4 points per game and 57.6 points per game at home. They averaged 45.6 points per game in their last 3 games against the Aggies. They have a balanced defense, but they do a better job running the ball. With the Aggies having one of the worst run defenses in the country, the Crimson Tide will run the ball down their throats and will score enough points to push the score over the total. The Aggies and Crimson Tide played over the total in their last 4 meetings. Our total pick is over 51.5 points.